Welcome to Kicevo, and here we are for the first ever PotenzaFest. I'm your host, Potenza, at this event where we celebrate the weird and wonderful about the automotive world and about motorsport. And coming up first to do a hot lap in this supercar shootout format, in this time trial format, we have Herbie. This is the VW Fun Cup car. This car has a 1.8 litre VW engine, produced about 130 horsepower, in a car that weighs about 760 kilos, and here we are now. It's a way to start off the lap. As you can see, this car is based off the VW Beetle. It's meant to be like an entry-level endurance racer, and its highlight of the season is the 25-hour endurance race at Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. There you go, kicking up dust as it goes through turn 2. Nice and smooth through turn 3. This car has quite small, the gear ratios, quite short gear ratios. Doesn't have much in the way of top speed either. As it goes over the bump there, now into this double left-hander, very tricky corner. Reminds me a little bit of Malaysia, the end of the lap there. Have to be really careful, and it's coping well with the second apex. Not going too far wide now, and the car's going to come to the left in order to make these next couple of corners. While we're watching this go around, a little word on this track. This is in Kicevo in North Macedonia, and this track is part of a military base, or a former military base. I'm not sure if it's still active. Honestly, it's certainly not active this weekend. As we get a lovely helicopter shot now, just showing off the circuit. Here we are now, coming round the final corner, and now we can really get the power down. These cars are going in the reverse order of how they qualified. And here we are now, coming up to the line to set the benchmark, and it's a 1:18.653 for the VW Beetle, which takes it to the top of the timesheets, although not really of any competition at the moment. Good start to this PotenzaFest and a good benchmark to go forward. And here is the next car to go down the PotenzaFest stage. This is the Fiat 500 Assetto Corsa. Only 49 of these have been produced. And now this car gets 200 horsepower out of its engine, and if you buy a car like this, you get it coming with a set of racing overalls in the Bath Racing leather bag. And here we are now, the number 40 car sets off on its run, carrying a decent amount of speed. Bit of a theme so far, purely coincidentally. They've both been cars based on Cars for the People, but racing versions. This is more of a touring car than a GT car. This car wouldn't do the same sort of endurance runs. But now, very good for the first few corners, carrying a lot of speed. And you can just see this car is so smooth. This car qualified fairly well considering what this car is like. This car's qualifying time was, in fact, a 1:18.626, which would be a very respectable time, but I'm sure in this actual run there's a few more seconds to be found. Now, nice and smooth for the first part. These two right-handers leading towards the chicane. Now here we are now coming into chicane. We get a lovely onboard shot here. Now as we handle the right cut and then left, then out to the right. Oh, he's had a bit of an issue there. I think he's accidentally found neutral, and you can see the torque steer there. Car sliding as it's fighting with the wheel spin due to the gearing in the car. But now here we are coming up to the line. Will this be faster than the Fun Cup car? It will go 3 seconds faster at 1:15.567. A very good time, and it goes straight to top of the timesheet as you would expect. Next car up is the Mercedes 190 Evolution 2 DTM car. This car was driven by Kurt Thiem. He's the father of GT racer Nicky Thiem, and this was driven by him in the 1990 DTM season. This car came third in the championship that year. And as you can imagine, a car like this is designed to cope really well at the high speeds. This car will be phenomenal at managing sort of to cruise at those high speeds, but sometimes the way the gearing set up, it might end up being quite difficult on some of the tighter parts of this circuit. But this track has a little bit of everything, really. And goes to the left there to avoid the massive crest. They didn't want to risk getting airtime on the crest, and now coming through this double left-hander. Very tricky hairpin, and now we're going past the fighter jet on the way through into the next couple of left-handers. This is the slowest part of the circuit, really. These two left-handers in the chicane, you don't really get much time on the throttle through here. We've got this lovely helicopter shot. Now coming into the chicane, It's managing it quite well. It's not thriving through this bit, but it certainly is managing it. And this final corner will be quite tricky, but this car, even when it's slightly turning, can really get the power down. And here we go now. He's going out wide at the final corner. Gets the power down. What sort of time is it going to set? Only 7 tenths quicker than the Fiat. That will be a disappointment for Mercedes. Only 7 tenths quicker than a Fiat 500. It still goes top of the timesheets, but once again, you would expect that at this point of the session. But very disappointing, I would think, to be within a second of the Assetto Corsa car. And the next car we have is the Honda Civic British Touring Car Championship car. This is Andrew Jordan's car, the car that won the 2013 British Touring Car Championship with him at the wheel. It's built to next generation touring car regulations. This has a 1.6 litre turbo inline 4 engine done by Honda and Neil Brown engines. And this car's recently been repurchased by Andrew Jordan. This team was run by his dad Michael. And you can see now, look at the speed this car is carrying. The sense of speed from this car so far, absolutely spectacular. And now coming down into this hairpin. And coping with the conditions quite well on this circuit. Able to get comfortably turned. Yeah, not really pushing it to the absolute limits, but this is very respectful so far. And now you go, oh, it's a bit deep there. Runs onto the grass. There's a ditch behind that corner. You have to be ever so careful. And that was nearly game over then, as we follow the car on board through this very tricky little chicane. But for a touring car, this is supreme. This is what they're designed to do. He's a little bit wide there for the final corner, but now he's going to get the car tuned in. Now here we go. He goes flat out towards the line. And will this be faster than the DTM car? It will be by about 4.5 seconds. Brilliant run for the first of our 2 touring cars today. And there we go, top of the timesheets quite comfortably, as you would expect. And here is our next car now, the Lola T70 Mark III. This car was first produced in 1965, Lola being a company that was the brainchild of Eric Broadley. So Lola provided the chassis for this, and the engines will come from elsewhere. And this car will have typically long Le Mans gears, and it's already sliding through the first turn. You can just see he's really struggling for the grip. The driver can't seem to get to grips with it. The car's going left, right, left, right. He's probably going really quick. This car will manage 100 miles an hour in first gear if you rev the valves off the engine, and nearly clipping the tyre barrier there at turn 3. But now here we are. Let the speed carry itself. But this car is going to be scary to stop. I'd imagine that was very difficult for the driver to get on his stomach. You know, your stomach churns when you're heavy braking like that. That was a beautiful onboard now. Once again, look, you see the car just not very well balanced at these lower speeds. If you got this car up to 200 miles an hour, it would be so well balanced. It would cope fantastically somewhere like the Mulsanne Straight in its old spec. But it will really struggle to cope with certain parts of this track today. Oh, and that's a beautiful shot, isn't it? Now coming through the final few corners. Now here we go, through the final turn. And here's the thing with this car. Although it's got the straight line speed, you have to wait for it, and now get the hammer down. And even so, look at the wobble. This is a very scary run. But what's this time going to be? It's going to be second. That's all the car could muster. About 1/3 of a tenth of a second off being the quickest time so far today. A 1:10.432. Puts it just behind the British touring car. Wow. That was a spectacular run though. Lose some of the spectacularness, and I'm sure you'd find a few more attempts. And here's the next car. Another British touring car. This time one from the Super Touring era of British touring cars. This is the Nissan Primera GT British touring car. This car is Anthony Reid from the 1998 season, and it came second in the British Touring Car Championship. Car number 23, because 2-3 is Nissan, if you translate that to Japanese. This car won the manufacturer's title in 1998, but just missed out on the drivers. And here we have now a classic from the British touring cars. Can it beat the modern touring cars? Let's see what about 15 years of performance has done to the British Touring Car Championship. And then the dust being kicked up there through turn 2, carrying a lot of speed through turn 3, and look at that, this car is really pushing it to the absolute limit. here. To go flat out now down the back straight in towards this sort of double apex hairpin, I guess you could call it. Yeah, nice running there from the Vodafone Nissan racing vehicle. And now here we go, coming up in, not around by the fighter jet, in towards the ditch. It's so easy to go wide there. Like, we haven't seen anyone do it today, luckily, but there are a few cars in practice struggled around that corner. Now you go through the chicane. It's carrying a fair amount of speed. Here's going to be the real question though, the final corner. How early can he get this power down? And can he go on to beat the British Touring Car Championship car? Here we go. Coming towards the line, and what's his time going to be? It's an improvement by half a second. That's a brilliant run. And just shows after 15 years of development, the British touring cars from today still can't beat the Super Touring era. Then again, you could argue that's to be expected. They were pumping millions into it around about that time. And here's our next car. This is the Chevrolet Camaro GT3. This is about as far from a Japanese-built European touring car that you can get. A muscular muscle car with a V8 engine, 7.9 litres. The engine is in this, and it produces 641 horsepower, and we're going to see all of that in use today, I'm pretty sure. Very stable through turn 1, now through turn 2, and he's wide, that could be a catastrophe for this car, and he's sliding through turn 3, nearly went straight into that tyre barrier, but he's carrying the speed. The downforce provided by that rear wing really helping it, and here's a lovely onboard shot. As we come down now into the second part of this hairpin, and you can see the crowd on the left, the fighter jet there as well. They are loving it. You kick of dust there from the end of the hairpin, and now coming through this next couple of corners, and once again just going a little bit wide. Hard to keep it under control. He's going a little bit wide through some of the corners, but he's making it work. Missing the second apex of that chicane, but getting it back for the third part. Yeah, it's a nice power down. This car as well, I imagine, is quite able to carry the power. It struggled on its qualifying lap, but here we go now, going full pelt, getting the car straightened up. And what time is this going to be? First of the big boys, by the looks of it, 5.314 seconds quicker. It's a 104.562. Remarkable run that was. We're now getting into the serious end of this session. Here's the next car to run, and it's a car from the 1976 Formula 1 season. This is the March 761. March were very much known as a constructor for other people's cars. Hesketh came second in a race in a car that was built by March. James Hunt came second. But either way, this is Vittorio Brambria's car that scored 1 point at Zandvoort in 1976. The team went on to score 18 further points throughout the season and came 7th in the constructors. And this car is powered by the legendary engine, the God's middle finger it was known as, the engine from the 60s, the Cosworth DFV. And that, it's not the most spectacular car from the 1976 season. That would probably go to the McLaren or the Ferrari, or even the Tyrrell Freewheeler. But in a season where it's hard to stand out, March certainly looked the part with this beautiful car. And you saw there earlier that suspension shot just looks superb. And now we're coming through on towards the second half of the lap, and you can just see, look how hard the tyres and the suspension are working. And now you can see how hard the drive's working through the chicane. Those brake ducts look absolutely gorgeous on this car. Here we go now through the final corner. It's managed it fairly stably. Now the question is, can this car beat the Camaro GT3? Because that improved massively. This car is going to improve on its qualifying time, but only goes P2, just over a tenth slower. It's a 104.695. That will be a disappointment for the number 9 car. We'd maybe expect a little bit more, but that was a good run nevertheless. And here's our next car. This is a very modern car. Michael Schumacher's son is driving this, Mick Schumacher. This is the Delar F317 that he ran in the 2017 Formula 3 European Championship. This car has a Mercedes engine that produced about 240 horsepower. And here we go now through turn 1. That was pretty quick going. Amazingly, this car is coping fairly well the bumps so far as we get this beautiful helicopter shot. Hopefully we'll see the car. No, we can't quite. But look at the acceleration of this. This is a baby Formula car nowadays. And here we go, we're on board with Mick Schumacher now in the number 25 mobile. And he's coping brilliantly with that hairpin. You'd expect it, to be honest. Mick Schumacher is a very, very capable driver. And he's kind of put Formula 3 and in recent years Formula 2 on the map. He's highlighting the junior series for a lot of fans who maybe wouldn't have watched them before. All of a sudden they've been highlighted by people like Lando Norris, who won that championship in 2017. Either way now, through the final corner. Is this car going to go quick? Oh, it's a bit of a slide there, but this could still be a really good run. Coming towards the line. Is it going to be quickest? Yes, it is. It's a first car under 1 minute 1 second. It's almost 4 seconds quicker than the previous car. 1 minute .701. We have 3 cars to go, and now this car, only one car beat that time during its actual run. This car has really set the benchmark going forward. And if any car can beat it, this one has a brilliant chance. This is the Rebellion Racing Lola B1260. This is a car that's essentially an upgrade to the B0860 that was produced by Lola for the LMP1 regulations many years before. This car is running a Toyota 3.4 litre V8. And in 2014, this exact car came P4 at Le Mans. Came first in the LMP1 L class, so non-hybrid. But 4th overall and 4th in the overall LMP1 class. This car stands a chance at being a real world beater, and you can see the speed it's carrying for the first 2 corners and through turn 3. Carrying a lot more speed than anything before it, and you can just see from this rear wing shot, it's just leaving the ground for dust. Brilliantly now as it comes through the hairpin, you can see how well that downforce is working well for it. It's coping with the bumps as well. Le Mans being partially a street circuit, it knows how to cope with the bumps along the Mulsanne and Indianapolis. Therefore it can cope with the bumps here. Some of the slower speed parts are where we worry about this car. And he's hit the tyres there through the chicane. He still gets it turned in. No damage was done to the car. But he clipped the first tyre at the first apex of that chicane. But now here we go, carrying the speed. You can see a bit of a slide there and running a little bit wide, but this is a brilliant run. We're seeing it go full clap, and that's the first time qualifying or in the actual runs that a car has gone sub 1 minute. That's a 58.856, much quicker than the best qualifying times before. What we have just witnessed is a spectacular lap there. And with 2 cars to go, I wonder if any of these can beat it. And here's the next one to try and beat that run. This is the Palatov D4. This car has a remarkable 700 brake horsepower per tonne. It's going to be a very lively car, I'm pretty sure. Short wheelbase as well. This is going to be scary. This car is designed for hill climbs, and this circuit being very similar to a hill climb circuit, and you can see the acceleration it gets off to there. Absolutely stunning. Runs a little bit wide though through the first turn, and it's made it quite hard to turn in. It was unsteering a bit through turn 2 because it was still stuck on the dirt, but that was fairly solid. And look at the speed through turn 3. Now running on board with this car, you can see how hard the driver is having to work to keep this car going where it should be. What a spectacular looking car, but that short wheelbase will make this very lively. This car struggled in practice. It's probably got another second or 2 in it from its practice time. But we'll wait and see as this car goes for lap number 46 car. Running a little bit wide there, and oh my goodness, those fans were not protected at that part of the circuit. That could have been a nasty injury. But luckily gets away with it. Goes through the chicane, going fairly quick through there. And now he's running wide. Oh, this has been a bit of a scruffy lap. But on this guy, you have to really wait to hammer down the power. And here we go now. He's hammered it down. And now he's not going to beat the Rebellion, but he's going to go third. That was slower than the Formula 3 car, a 102 flat. It's slower than the Lara F317. It goes into third. The worst it can finish now is P4, as we only have 1 car left that can beat the Rebellion Lola B1260. So with 1 car left to run, this is going to have to be something remarkable. And here is the car that's going up to take that top spot. This car is the quickest qualifier. This is the Mitsubishi Evolution 9 time attack car. This one is run by speed hunters, and there's lots of people who run these sort of cars as time attack vehicles. Should be perfect for the bumps and for the general mix, like, change in acceleration you need around this circuit. It was the quickest qualifier of 1:2:05, which would put it into P2 today. But here we go now through the first corner, and he's not going all the way wide. That might cost him a bit of time. Could have carried a bit more speed. Got this beautiful shot now on board as we come through turn 3. Carrying a lot of speed through there, and now we're going to see what sort of time he can do as we come down this main straight. Carrying a lot of speed. It's quite easy to get braking. Nearly ran a little bit wide, but brings it back. Nearly clips the dirt a little bit there. But that's good, and you can see the kick of dirt and gets coming out that double apex hairpin. Now coming into the tighter, slower part of the circuit, this car should be able to cope quite nicely with it and carry the acceleration through this part. Coming into the chicane, how's it going to be? It's fairly stable, managing to get quite close to the apexes. Very nice through that part of the track, but he's running a little bit wide there. That might cost him a bit of time. That could be the difference between first and second. We'll wait and see, but now here we go, coming towards the line. What is this car going to do? It's P3. It's beat the Palatov D4, but it's coming P3. And here are the final standings now. The Rebellion Lola B1260 is top of the standings with a 58.856. Then it's the Lara F317 and a Mitsubishi Evo 9 time attack. Then you got the Palatov D4. Then it's almost like a separate class really. You got the Chevy Camaro GT3 ahead of the Mark 761. Then out the touring cars, Nissan Primera beat the Honda Civic. Lola came P9. The 190 Evo DTM car came P10. Then it's a Fiat Abarth 500 Assetto Corse. And the VW Fun Cup brings up the rear. Yeah, I really hope you have enjoyed today. And you've enjoyed joining us for the first ever PotenzaFest. Hopefully there'll be another one. Where will it be held? Who knows? We'll wait and see when the next event gets arranged. But if you have enjoyed this, please like this video, share it with anyone you know who might be interested. Check out all my social media and stuff in the description below, and subscribe for more content like this. In the meantime, I have been PotenzaFest, and I shall see you next time. Bye.